Prime Minister Modi to attend ASEAN-India summit in Indonesia. Prime Minister Modi has a packed two-day schedule ahead of the G20 summit in Delhi. Meanwhile, Chinese President Xi Jinping to skip ASEAN and G20 summits both. NDTV learns from sources that Prime Minister Modi will be holding 3 bilateral meetings during the G20 summit over the coming weekend. The bilateral with US President Joe Biden has been made official. Special session of Parliament, letter versus letter. Parliament Affairs Minister hits out at Sonia Gandhi's 9-point letter to the Prime Minister. He says politicizing Parliament functioning is not the right way forward. Sonia Gandhi demands for a discussion on 9 agendas for the special session. Prime Minister Modi reacts to the Sanatan dharm controversy. According to sources, he told his ministers that the remarks of Tamil Nadu Minister Udayanidhi Stalin needs a proper response. Stalin Jr., on the other hand, remains defiant and says no question of any apology. Hello, I'm Sneha Koshi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has left for Jakarta in Indonesia to attend the 20th ASEAN-India Summit and the 18th East Asia Summit. A new initiative to boost the India-ASEAN maritime security cooperation is likely to be unveiled after Prime Minister Modi holds summit talks with the leaders of the 10-nation influential bloc in Jakarta. Remember, this comes hours after government booklet on the Prime Minister's visit to Indonesia referred to Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister of Bharat. Meanwhile, Chinese President Xi Jinping will be skipping the ASEAN meet as well. This after Beijing earlier confirmed the Chinese Premier will not be attending the G20 summit finale in Delhi. And meanwhile, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov held talks with his Indian counterpart, Dr. S. Jaishankar, on the sidelines of the 18th East Asia Summit in Jakarta. As India readies for the G20 summit, where several world leaders like US President Joe Biden, UK's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, Canada's Justin Trudeau and several others will arrive in Delhi, NDTV has learned from sources in the Prime Minister's office that Prime Minister Modi will be holding 3 bilaterals during the G20 weekend. One of those meetings that has been made official will be with the US President Joe Biden. And commuting in Delhi during the G20 summit may be tricky due to security arrangements. VVIP movement, control zones and traffic diversions. NDTV's Vishnu Som explains it all.
This is a map of Delhi. There are 3 primary areas with restrictions. What you see on your screen now is the control zone number 1. There's also the control zone number 2, and the area marked here, bound by the ring road, is called the regulated zone. In control zone 1, there will be major restrictions from 5 a.m. on the 8th of September to 11:59 on the 10th of September. In control zone 2, there will be major restrictions from 12 a.m. on the 10th of September to 2 p.m. on the 10th of September. In the regulated zone, there will be restrictions from 5 a.m. on the 8th of September to 11:59 p.m. on the 10th of September. So what are restrictions in the controlled and regulated areas? Here is what you need to know. In the control zone number 1 that you see on your screen, all regular road transport movement will be affected. Only residents authorized and emergency vehicles will be allowed. In control zone 2, all regular road transport will be affected in this area as well. Only residents who are authorized can travel. Also emergency vehicles will be allowed. Therefore, plan movement to the airport and railway station carefully. In the larger regulated zone, residents, emergency vehicles and vehicles of passengers travelling to airport and railway stations will be allowed. But what about bus transportation? Here's what the police have told us so far. Interstate buses will be allowed entry into Delhi. but the terminating points will be on the ring road. The precise locations of these not been spelt out so far. No bus services will be allowed in close proximity to G20 sites. Now, several of our viewers had queries on whether they can get to train stations and the airport at all. Here's what we've been told so far. Passengers using cars to travel to airports and train stations must keep sufficient time in hand. There will be multiple route diversions to get to the airport. All route diversions have been spelled out at the website traffic.delhipolice.gov.in. Please refer to this because they've got a lot more information than we have time to share. Taxi services will be allowed. Getting these may not be that easy. You need to plan. The use of the metro's airport line, once again, being encouraged. So what will not be allowed by and large, and what should you expect in all other cases? For starters, goods vehicles, by which I mean heavy trucks, will not be allowed during the G20 days. Essential commodities such as milk and vegetables will be allowed. There'll be heavy regulation of traffic on all G20 days. Expect multiple traffic diversions and delays. What authorities are advising is the extensive use of metro services, which by and large should continue without major delays and on major routes. However, some, not all gates of stations will remain shut. So, for example, all gates of the Supreme Court station will be closed from the 8th to the 10th of September. It will not be functioning, this station. But some gates of other metro stations may be shut to control the movement of people. The use of the airport metro line, once again, needs to be encouraged, which is why we are putting it out there.
And former Congress chief Sonia Gandhi wrote to Prime Minister Narendra Modi pointing out that no agenda has been listed for the special session of the Parliament that is set to begin from September 18th, underscoring that no agenda has been announced for the special session. She listed 9 subjects and demanded discussion on them, including centre-state relationship, communalism and border conflict with China during the special session. Meanwhile, the centre has hit out. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi took on Sonia Gandhi, saying the session has been called following tradition. Perhaps you are not paying attention to tradition. Before calling the Parliament session, there is never any discussion with political parties nor other issues discussed. After the calling of the session by the President and before the commencement of the session, there is a meeting of the leaders of all parties in which the people raising the issues in the Parliament will be discussed. Issues and work are discussed, he added.
Article 85 provides this specific provision to the government power, provide this power to the government. And accordingly, after following the due process, we have called this session. And unnecessarily making a issue out of a non-issue to do the politics or politicize the issue is very, very unfortunate.
And the Supreme Court has refused to urgently hear a plea seeking directions that voter verifiable paper audit trail, or better known as VVPAT, slips must be tallied with votes cast through electronic voting machines. How many times will this issue be raised? Every 6 months? There is no urgency. We will hear in due course. Every year, a fresh petition is filed about this. There are other urgent matters. If any elections are held in the interim, so be it. This is not a criminal case, please. Justice Khanna orally remarked. And relations between the West Bengal governor and the chief minister have soured to the point where the chief minister Mamata Banerjee has threatened to sit on a dharna outside the Raj Bhavan. In fact, the tension has only spiraled after a controversial remark by Mamata Banerjee's minister as well. Let's listen in.
সুস্থ বাঘের থেকেও আহত বাঘ আরো ভয়ঙ্কর। আজকে আপনারা আঘাত করছেন, এই আঘাতের প্রত্যাঘাত সহ্য করতে পারবেন কি? প্লিজ ওয়েট ফর দ্যাট, ওয়েট অ্যান্ড ওয়াচ।
Mamata Banerjee warning the West Bengal governor. The chief minister is livid at the West Bengal governor Dr. C.V. Anand Bose over his decisions on appointment of vice chancellors for state universities. The chief minister going as far as to remind the governor that her government pays his bills.
মনে রাখবেন, আপনি এই রাজভবনটায় বসে আছেন না, এই রাজভবনটার টাকাও কিন্তু আমরা দিই। একজন লোককে যে চা খাওয়ান ডেকে সেই পয়সাটাও কিন্তু আমাদের।
The BJP hit back at Mamata Banerjee.
মাননীয় মুখ্যমন্ত্রী সংকীর্ণ মানসিকতার পরিচয় দিচ্ছেন, উনি বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ের মানেটাই বোঝেন। বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় একটি অটোনোমাস সিস্টেম, সেখানে রাজ্য সরকার টাকা দিতেই পারে অবশ্যই, কিন্তু সেই টাকা দিয়ে মাতব্বরি করার মতো জায়গায় না। এই যে ছোটলোকী মানসিকতা, আমি খাওয়াই বলে আমার কথা শুনতে হবে।
As Mamata Banerjee threatened to stop salaries of those appointed by the governor, the opposition BJP dared her to do it. The governor's office has argued that the university statutes do not require vice-chancellors to have an academic background, but has not responded to the chief minister's comments yet. NDTV has reached out to the Raj Bhavan for a response. West Bengal's education minister says Jagdeep Dhankar, with whom the state government had several run-ins, was better to work with.
আমার সঙ্গে বর্তমান যিনি উপরাষ্ট্রপতি মাননীয় আমাদের জগদীপ ধনকর, তার সঙ্গে আমার যতবার কথা হয়েছে তিনি প্রত্যেকবার আলোচনার টেবিলে বসতে চেয়েছেন, আইন নিয়ে তর্কাতর্কি হয়েছে এবং সেটা সামনাসামনি হয়েছে। কিন্তু এইরকম একটা নিঃশব্দ প্রহেলিকাময় জেমস বন্ড মার্কা আচরণ তিনি করেননি।
Initially, when Dr. C.V. Ananda Bose was appointed governor of West Bengal, he shared extremely warm ties with the government and Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, which was a departure from the Jagdeep Dhankar era, when Mamata Banerjee and former governor Jagdeep Dhankar shared an extremely acrimonious relationship. But all that bonhomie now seems to have disappeared, with ties between Raj Bhavan and government hitting rock bottom, perhaps even worse than what it was during Jagdeep Dhankar's tenure as governor of West Bengal. With camera person G.D. Shankar in Kolkata, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
And days after Congress spokesperson Pawan Khera alleged that the RSS wants to do away with reservations, RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat has claimed that reservations for the most marginalized sections of the society will continue till there is discrimination in society.
और हमने अपने ही समाज के बंधुओं को सामाजिक व्यवस्था के तहत पीछे रखा, उनका जीना पशु समान हो गया तो हमने चिंता नहीं की। और ऐसा कम से कम 2000 वर्ष चला ही है। धीरे धीरे उनको अपने बराबरी में लाने तक उनको कुछ विशेष उपाय करने पड़ेंगे। ऐसा वो आरक्षण लागू किया है। इसलिए जब तक वो भेदभाव है तब तक उसको चालू रहना चाहिए। संविधान सम्मत जितना आरक्षण है उसको हम संघ के लोग तो पूरा समर्थन देते हैं।
And my colleague Vasudha explains further on this. Vasudha, there's been a lot on reservations between the Congress as well as the BJP or the RSS. Tell us the importance of what we've heard just now.
Yes, Neha. So basically, RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat, while speaking in Nagpur today, has very categorically said that, for 2000 years, we have kept our own country, men and women, behind, and, marginalized groups have been made to suffer. So even if they get reservation for 200 years, it's not going to make a difference. So it's a very strong statement coming from him. Of course, Mohan Bhagwat's statements on reservation in the past have also created a spot for the BJP, but that is in the past. Since 2019, Mohan Bhagwat has been very, clear on this front that SC/ST, not just votes, but SC/ST Indians are very, very important because the Sangh is also trying to increase its expansion strategies. This comes at a time when the country is witnessing a debate on caste, because you know what is happening with Udayanidhi Stalin's, comment on Sanatan dharm. Sanatan dharm in south of India, especially in Tamil Nadu, is also the popular recall is of caste. So he has also said that, there is caste discrimination that exists in the country. Yesterday, when there was a lot of debate on Bharat versus India, lots of Congress spokespersons, including Pawan Khera, actually said that the RSS wants India to go back to, old ways, ancient ways, Manusmriti, caste was again brought in, reservations, opposition, all of that was brought in. So I think this timely clarification by Mohan Bhagwat is very important and significant in the context of the assembly elections also coming up, where the tribal votes are going to be very important.
Right. Thank you very much, Vasudha, for all of those details. We have a lot more lined up for you, but first, a short break. Welcome back. The use of President of Bharat instead of the traditional President of India on the official G20 summit invitations has continued to spark a row. The move that comes days ahead of the special session of the parliament has sent political temperatures soaring. Bharat has also been used in the G20 booklet meant for foreign delegates titled Bharat, the Mother of Democracy. Now, this has sparked speculation that the government may put forward a resolution to change the country's name later this month in the 5-day special session. The move drew scathing criticism from the opposition. The members of the opposition India bloc accused Narendra Modi government of distorting history and dividing India, including chief ministers of opposition-ruled states also have gone ahead and tweeted against what is suggested as the centre's possible move. After almost 2 days' massive Bharat-India political row, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asked his ministers to stay away from commenting on the issue. So with this row and speculation over a possible name change for the country, we take a look at countries that have renamed themselves, be it to throw off colonial legacies or to reclaim their historic identities. Here's the report.
The prospect of India changing its official name to Bharat isn't an unusual or novel idea. Several nations in recent history have undergone transformations, shedding their old names to adopt new ones. But why do nations decide to rename themselves? The partition of a nation results in the birth of two new nations, and the most famous example is that of India itself, which is split into two upon independence to give birth to India and to Pakistan. Similarly, East Pakistan became Bangladesh after the 1971 war with West Pakistan. The name Bangladesh reflected the nation's newly independent cultural and linguistic identity. Czechoslovakia was dissolved in 1993 to make way for the Czech Republic, which is now known as Czechia, and Slovakia, marking the divisions between the two ethnic groups, the Czechs and the Slovaks. Some nations changed their name to break away from their colonial past and reflect their native identities. Sri Lanka did it in 1972 when it dropped the colonial name Ceylon for the Sinhalese name, which means resplendent land. Some nations change names to reclaim historical identities, like in 1935. The Shah asked the foreign delegates to use the name Iran, not Persia, for his country. Similarly, in 2018, Swaziland was rechristened to its pre-colonial name Eswatini on its 50th anniversary to shrug off its colonial past. In 2021, Turkey's President Erdogan announced that his nation would be known as Turkey because it represents the culture and values of the country. But the move was seen as a push to rebrand the nation and dissociate it from a bird of the same name and its negative connotations. Similarly, Burma was renamed Myanmar in 1989 by the ruling military junta in an attempt to legitimize their power. But some nations continue to call the nation by its old name over concerns of human rights abuses and a lack of democratic transition. But the question is, will India, like these countries, be officially renamed too and go back to its ancient name of Bharat, which finds a place in the Indian constitution as well? Well, only time will tell. Nayantara Singh for NDTV.
Well, Delhi is all ready for the G20 summit, and it's not just about the look of the city or how the country is now gearing up for welcoming all the dignitaries, but also the taste. What do we mean by this? You have to watch Ravi Ranjan's report.
हमारे साथ में शेफ हैं, चीफ शेफ हैं जितेंद्र जी। जितेंद्र जी, थोड़ा सा हमें आप बताइए कि ये कौन-कौन से देश के किस आपने खाने की वैरायटी को इसमें शामिल किया गया है?
सबसे पहले तो आपका स्वागत है फूड बस ऑफ इंडिया में। हाँ। और जो फूड बस ऑफ इंडिया है, ये एक वुमेन लेड एंटरप्राइजेस है और इसके को आइडिएटर मिस आरुषि सिंह और मिस्टर सुखराज सिंह, जिन्होंने ये पूरा आइडिया क्रिएट किया है। तो इनका कॉन्सेप्ट हमारा थोड़ा अलग है। ये डबल डेकर बस है सर, और ये अभी 4 लोकेशंस में है और बहुत सारी लोकेशंस में आने वाली है। हम लोग G20 को देखते हुए हमने भी सोचा कि कुछ अच्छा किया जाए और कैसे G20 में हम सम्मिलित हों। तो हमने उसको सम्मिलित करने के लिए हमने एक मेन्यू बनाया। मैंने एक मेन्यू इजाद किया और उस मेन्यू में करीबन 10 देशों का खाना डाला।
ये आप मेन्यू देख सकते हैं। अच्छा, इसमें कौन कौन से? तो यूनाइटेड
किंगडम है, मैक्सिकन है, जापानीज है, चाइनीज है, और कैनेडियन है, लेबनीज है, फ्रेंच है, इंडियन है। इस तरह के हमने डाले ताकि जो आज की जो यंग जनरेशन है, ठीक है, वो खाने से रिलेट कर सके देश को।
अच्छा,
बिकॉज आपको पता होगा खाना सबसे अच्छा साधन है किसी भी देश की कल्चर या किसी के उसको संस्कृति के जानने के लिए। और ये हम अब हमारा भाग्य इतना अच्छा है कि G20 अभी यहाँ हो रहा है। तो हमने सोचा इससे अच्छा तरीका हमें अपने आप को शोकेस करने का नहीं मिलेगा।